Hey guys, it's Mikeybalzz checking in with you during a hot summer day. You see me sweating? It's freaking hot as balls out here, dude. We got a storm coming in, but I wanted to share with you two really go-to baits when it gets this hot. They are catch fish kind of anywhere, structure fishing. You know, you're usually fishing a little bit deeper, fishing offshore cover, offshore structure, and trying to tap into some of those fish that are trying to stay cool, but like can be really potted up and schooled up during the summer and can lead to some awesome days fishing out on the water, even in this heat, if you're willing to brave it. You know, my first go-to, if you like dragging, a lot of guys will drag a worm. Yeah, great. I like to go a little bit bigger. This is the football jig I like to drag. Now you can downsize or upsize depending on where you're fishing. I usually use a 3/4 ounce. If you're fishing shallower, you know, go down to a half, go down to a 3/8. The 3/4 I'm tapping into probably like 15 to 25 feet of water usually. You can see on there I have a Starflash skirt. The reason I like that Starflash skirt, especially during the summer, is it's super bulky. It's that round rubber. It flares a whole bunch. Bait is big during the summer. The brim are big. All the forage and all that you're going to find in the lake is going to be bigger. It's growing, it's eating, it's freaking big. So the bass are eating too, and their metabolism is higher, so they're eating more. And oftentimes those bigger fish will eat a bigger meal over eating more times during the day. So I want to present something bigger because we're in Florida. I want to catch giants, dude. But what I have on there is the Starflash skirt, 3/4 ounce jig, and then a classic Mega Daddy. You'll notice immediately that Mega Daddy is on there dangling. It's just kind of threaded on there like a chunk. The reason I do that is I really strongly believe that it gives you a lot more fluid motion and a lot better bait action when you're down there, even if you're swimming it, even if you're kind of slow rolling it on the bottom, dragging it, whatever you're doing. Like that chunk sort of presentation, I think it gets more bites. You do use more plastics, I'll be 100% honest with you. It is going to tear off more, especially when they just bite the claws in that, but I think you're going to get more bites with it dangling on there. But definitely a go-to. You know, you can fish it fast, you can stroke it, you can swim it kind of on the bottom or slow roll it on the bottom like a crankbait. That football jig with that Mega Daddy has a lot of versatility for this hot weather. Fast, slow, and you really do have to be versatile because those fish will go from 100 miles per hour active to pretty not cooperative sometimes, all depending on time of day, sunlight, weather, etc. But they can be potted up and you can wax them. So definitely something to try. Let me tell you about my second go-to. My second go-to is something that's been super hot lately, and that's what I like to call the magnet. There's a couple ways I do it, but this is kind of one of the basic ones, and I'll tell you about the variations. Basically, what I have on there, that's a Berkley 3/8 ounce head. I'm fishing a little bit deeper structure. As you can see, like I'm freaking hundreds of yards off the bank. So I'm out here in like 25, 30 feet of water. So I'm going to need that little bit heavier head. And then on the back right there, a lot of guys are going to put, your smaller stick baits in that. I like to go bigger. This is a Gambler Obese that I've cut down just above the worm sack you can see right there. Super stocky, but one of the tricks is this plastic is super dense, so it's super stiff. So when it gets down there, it really quivers. And I really think that's the art of the Ned rig, is it getting a bait on there that really quivers, because the whole deal with the Ned is when it's not moving, it just kind of shakes. Or if you shake slack in your line, it really has a lot of action to it, but subtle action, and that's what draws those bites. The other thing that I'll put on the back of here is I'll take a 7-inch fat ace and I'll cut it down just above the worm sack, especially those black blue tip. Those are pretty sweet. And thread it on there and have it about the same length. Super chunky. You can cast it a million miles. Big presentation. Finesse presentation or nuance presentation. And I think that's the key. The one thing that I really love about this rig too is, even though it's bigger, during the summer they're eating bigger things, so it's nothing to worry about. The other deal is it gets small bites and it gets big bites. It's something that you can fish through fish if you need to catch keepers, 2-pounders, 1.5-pounders, but at the same time, if there is a bigger fish, 5-6 pounds lurking in that school, they're gonna eat it. And I know that because it's happened to me many a time. I've caught fish up to 9.5 pounds on this thing, on this little dinky deal, even with the little small hook. Now, you need to kind of manage them when you hook them because you are dealing with a small hook. You don't want to freaking crank them in, like it's no tomorrow. You got to kind of play them a little bit and be a little bit careful. But once you pin them good with this, they're freaking locked on as long as you play them right. This presentation, in contrast to the football jig, which I'll throw on like 20-pound test because I do want to get it into some brush piles or some cover offshore. This is an open hook presentation. I'm going to fish this on shell, sandbars, little gravel bars, and that. Throw this on 12-pound fluorocarbon. Throw it on a bait casting setup. I like that a little bit more, but I'm also using kind of a medium, very moderate action rod. It has a lot of parabolic bend to it. So basically, I don't really feel bites. What happens is the rod kind of loads up and bends, and I reel down and it sets the hook for me. Two super presentations though for this hot weather, sweating. If you're out here and you're kind of braving the weather, dude, it's so key having some baits that you can kind of deliver to the fish in different manners, you know, fast, slow, as well as having something finesse but still get you bigger bites like this Ned rig. So try those two out. Let me know what you think of them, and make sure, if you haven't, subscribe to my YouTube channel, Mikeybalzz Fishing. We got a bunch of tips on there, a bunch of awesome fishing, a bunch of gigantic fish, including, if you haven't seen it, a bag of 49 pounds 3 ounces. Freaking mega bag. And if you haven't watched that, you need to check it out. But tight lines, guys, make sure you subscribe to the Gambler YouTube channel, and I hope those baits work for you.